The girl they feared. The Galactic Empire first noticed the anomaly on the outer fringe, Sector 77 Delta, a quiet, forgotten place. A lone human settlement, barely a blip on any map, too insignificant to matter. Or so they thought. When Admiral Sithra received the intelligence report, it was riddled with strange flags, unexplained deaths, entire squads missing, and a strange term the frightened locals whispered, the Heir. "Is it a resistance cell?" Sithra demanded, staring at the holographic map flickering before him. "Unknown, Admiral," his intelligence officer stammered. "Only that. Those who go near the girl vanish. No traces. No transmissions. Silence." Sithra scoffed. "One girl. How quaint." He ordered a special strike team, Task Force Black, the best assassins and psionics the Empire could muster. They were sent to Sector 77 Delta with a simple command. Eliminate the girl. It was a gray dusk when they arrived. The settlement was eerily quiet. Dirt paths wound between rickety houses. No lights burned. No dogs barked. It was as if life itself had fled. The girl was waiting at the center, standing beside an ancient hut that seemed older than the stars. She wore a simple black dress, her dark hair tumbling wildly down her shoulders. Her eyes glowed faintly, pale silver, unnatural. Sergeant Kalen of Task Force Black gave the hand signal: surround, capture, neutralize. The soldiers moved in, weapons trained. The girl spoke, no louder than a whisper, but it carried through the air like a thunderclap. "Go back," she said. Kalen laughed. "Little girl, do you know who we are?" The air turned colder. Frost formed on the ground around her bare feet. Somewhere beyond sight, a wind began to howl. The soldiers advanced and died. It happened in a blink. One was lifted screaming into the air, his body twisted and crushed like paper. Another fired his blaster, only to find his weapon turned against him mid-shot. Bones snapped, blood painted the hut walls. Kalen watched in horror as shadows rose from the ground, vague, grotesque shapes. They wore no form, only rage. "Fall back! Fall back!" he roared. But it was too late. The girl walked toward him, and with every step, the world seemed to shudder. When she finally spoke again, it was not just her voice, but 1,000 voices, old and hungry. "You were warned." A single survivor escaped, barely alive, mouth babbling nonsense. He was dragged before Admiral Sithra, body trembling, eyes wide with terror. "It's her," he whispered, tears streaming down his face. "The Heir. The Baba Yaga walks again." Sithra frowned. "Baba Yaga? A human myth? A witch?" "No," the survivor sobbed. "Not a myth. She chose an heir, and the heir is death." The Admiral ordered the man executed for cowardice. But in the dark corners of his mind, a seed of doubt had been planted. The Empire never believed in human legends. But they were about to learn why some stories survive the death of worlds. The Wrath of the Heir. High orbit. Planet 77 Delta. A full fleet of Imperial dreadnoughts loomed in the skies, casting long shadows across the surface. The Empire had decided, no mistakes. No survivors. Orbital cleansing protocol was authorized. In the command bridge, Admiral Sithra gave the final order. "Burn it." Hundreds of plasma lances ignited. The air screamed as they fell toward the planet's surface, each carrying enough force to level cities. But as the first plasma strike neared the old hut, something happened. The missile froze in midair. Not stopped by shields. Not shot down. Frozen. as if time itself refused to obey. The bridge crew gasped in disbelief as the cameras zoomed in. The girl stood on the hut's roof, arms raised. Around her, the very fabric of reality shimmered. The hut changed. It grew taller, sprouting massive, gnarled legs like a monstrous chicken. It stood, stomping the earth, and laughed. Sithra staggered back. What in the Emperor's name? The legends had said Baba Yaga's house moved on legs, hunting those foolish enough to cross it. It was no longer legend. It was here. The hut kicked the frozen missile back into space, straight into one of the dreadnoughts. The explosion was cataclysmic. The fleet scrambled. Fighters swarmed. Shield systems overloaded. But it was already too late. She had awakened. The girl began to rise from the ground, lifted by unseen forces. From her shadow, countless others emerged, twisted forms of all those who had ever died unjustly by the Empire's hand. Ghosts of massacred worlds. Spirits of crushed resistance. Her army. Admiral Sithra tried to retreat. He screamed orders. But the shadows moved faster than ships. They slipped through hulls, tearing apart steel and bone alike. One by one, the dreadnoughts fell. The Empire had conquered 1,000 planets, but it had forgotten one simple truth. You do not anger the old gods. When the battle was over, Sector 77 Delta was a smoking graveyard. The girl stood atop the ruins, silent. She was no longer alone. Behind her, the spirits watched. The stars above trembled. The surviving humans of the settlement crawled out of their hiding places, falling to their knees. They did not speak her name. They knew better. She was not just a girl. She was the vengeance of a forgotten Earth. The terror in bedtime stories. The shadow that even monsters feared. She was the heir of Baba Yaga. And the galaxy would never forget her again.